Hello, everybody. It's Jay with Guilty of Crime. And look at my new space. Well, I have lots of spaces. I don't like to be confined. So I've had spaces and now I'm set up to do a little more. You can see it here. Hi, Sadie's mama. I was just coming on right now and I was getting all the videos set up and all the fun stuff we're going to talk about today. So, yeah, I was working this week when the trial was happening. I didn't really get to watch day two, which to me, day two was Crystal Sorey. I really wanted to watch that. And then Kayla Montgomery came up. Oh, shoot. No sound, huh? And then Kayla Montgomery came up. Oh, shoot. No sound, huh? Interesting, because I'm listening to it. Okay, yeah, I'm listening to it on my end. I'm like, whoa, what happened? Okay, so it wasn't me. Good. Thank you. Okay, so I'll keep talking. Yeah, so I put together my thumbnail and I said, hey, let's do this. Let's do Battle of the Exes, right? Adam's sitting there not showing his face, and we're doing a Battle of the Exes on here because we got Crystal Sorey one day, we've got Kayla Montgomery the next day, and yes, we do have Adam's uncle, which I thought we might want to play. If everybody wants to see that or they haven't, it's not very long. It's kind of like a 19-minute clip, but I was working and I didn't get to see it. So if anyone else feels that way, that would be great, that they want to also watch it. So I'm here hanging out. I don't have to go pick anybody up or do anything. So I figured, hey, why not? Let's do a little more today. And let me get back on here. I'll start. All right, let's go. Yeah, definitely awesome. I'm glad you want to see this too. So let's talk about the case a little. We did the first part, and yeah, it's so sad. We need justice for Harmony. I want to play a clip of Harmony's mom. She's been in the media a lot lately, and a lot of people are feeling bad for her. I have my opinion, and you can tell how I'm saying it, that I don't feel that bad for her. I feel like let this be a lesson to people. When you have kids, it's a big responsibility. It's the biggest responsibility you can have. So get it together or don't keep the kid, right? And I get it. She got Harmony taken away, but she didn't make sure that she was in good hands. So yeah, let's play a clip of her, and then I want to go into the Battle of the Exes, right? Did they both turn on him? If anyone's seen this, did they know? Did they both turn on him during testimony? I know Kayla, she only got 18 months. 18 months for this, and she's gonna describe some gruesome things. So I just can't even imagine. This is crazy. So let me change my screen so we can show the videos, and I'm going to play her mom when she speaks on court TV. Yeah, is she looking for 15 minutes of fame now? Let's see.
Reprehensible that it's almost too disturbing to talk about. But tonight, we will talk about both, because Harmony deserves to be remembered, and this little angel deserves justice. Harmony was born to Crystal Sorey and Adammontgomery, but unfortunately for Harmony, both her parents suffered from addiction problems. These issues were addressed by a judge in family court in Massachusetts in a questionable hearing where Adam, a career criminal, was granted sole custody of Harmony in New Hampshire. Harmony then lived with her father and stepmother, Kayla. The couple was evicted from their home and began living in a car. That's where prosecutors say Adam murdered his daughter in 2019. For 2 years, no one reported her missing until Crystal started making some noise and alerted authorities, who began searching for Harmony. Harmony has never been found, but now Adam has been charged with her murder, and Kayla, his estranged wife, will be the prosecution's most important witness at trial. Tonight, we go in depth into the life of this beautiful little girl with her mom, Crystal, who joins us this hour for a live interview. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And for the last year and a half, we've spent a lot of time talking about a little girl who was missing. Her name is Harmony Montgomery. And you followed everything that has happened during the course of this investigation. But Harmony can't tell her own story. It's impossible. It's just, and it's heartbreaking. You want someone to be able to tell their story. And Harmony can't tell her story because she's missing and she's presumed dead. And there'll be a trial all about that. Now, when you're that young, it's usually the people around you who can, you know, kind of fill in the gaps and tell us your story. Unfortunately, the adults who were living with Harmony when she went missing and was presumably murdered, filled her life with chaos that resulted in death. And we're talking, of course, about Adam and Kayla, the father and stepmother. That was, I guess that would be her story at that moment in time, in that small window of time of her life. But there's more. So where do you go to tell that story, to figure out who this little girl was, the spirit of Harmony, and what made her happy? What did she like to do? I mean, we haven't heard that. We've been covering this story for a year and a half, and we haven't been able to hear that story yet. And I think for most children, that story starts with mom. There's little Harmony with her mom, Crystal. And Crystal.
Has anyone seen this? Have you seen this, Sadie's mama? Now, I haven't seen this yet, so I can come in really hot with something, and it's just because of Harmony. I want justice for Harmony, and you know, I haven't watched the testifying. I haven't watched her testify. I saw a clip of her crying. I haven't seen this, so I really wanted to watch this and feel what's happening with this case, feel how she feels. And I could definitely be swayed to one way or the other if it's compelling. So yeah, I came in hot, and I come in hot with people, and I'll say all the time, kids come first, but it doesn't mean that my heart doesn't go out to her mom. Now, Kayla on the other side, we'll talk about that when she gets on the stand and starts talking about that. I won't be swayed probably, but again, I come in hot, and this is what's going to happen now. So I'm sure I will be when I see this.
Is joining us and is here tonight to tell Harmony's story. And I think it's going to be, for the first time for us, an opportunity to finally get to know this little girl. So let me right away bring in our special guest joining us, Harmony's mom, Crystal Sorey, joining us tonight. Crystal, thank you so much. I hope you know that people around the nation, around the world, know Harmony's story, and they send their prayers and their love and everything else. And I hope you've felt that. Can we start tonight? Because, and this is going to be a tough hour. I know it's going to be difficult, but let's please start. And you were gracious enough to send us a bunch of photos that we've never seen before. And let's focus right now on the times that Harmony was happy and what that was like, what she was doing, and what you remember.
She was just such a kind little girl, you know. Ever since she was so little, you know, she was just, they always said the first day she was born, she was like bright-eyed and she stared right at you and lifted her head right up, and you know, she was ready, you know, she was ready for the world. And every person that ever met her said, she's a light, you know. She lights up the room when she walks in, you know. She couldn't stand to see anybody sad or mad. She's just so happy, you know. She loved to dance and sing, and she always tell me, Mommy, I'm gonna be a superstar, you know. And she sure is. You know, she loved her brother. You know, that's one thing I can say. She loved being a big sister. At first, she wasn't very fond of it. She was like, "Oh no, what is happening?" You know. But she fell in love with him right away. Right away, she wanted to do everything for him. You know, feed him, and I think for a little while she thought he was a doll. But then I think, you know, I kept having to explain to her that you know, he was not a doll and he was very much a real baby. Yeah, she just so much life, filled with so much life. We would walk. I was in a program when I had gotten her back. You know, I was always fighting to get clean. You know, that was one thing that she did for me was she made me realize that there was more to life than just the bad things, you know, drugs and parties and, you know, toxicity, you know. When she was born, I realized I didn't want that anymore. And I wanted things to be different. I wanted to break the cycle. So I just kept going to programs, and I tried to make it so she didn't really know. She called it our adventure because I tried not to let her know that this was a sober house. You know, I tried to let her think that this is just where we had to be right now so that Mommy could be better. And she didn't care because she had all these friends and life was as normal as it could be for her, you know. You know, she was going to school and she had all these friends, and there was always activities going on, always birthday parties and events, and you know, they were always doing these amazing things for the kids, you know. So she was happy, you know, and I just want to emphasize that so much, that like her life wasn't always bad. It was only bad when he got her. She was very much loved by everybody who met her. Like, you know, her daycare people, they still reach out to me, and you know, really anybody that she left a mark on. I'm very close with her foster parents. They've been my family from day one, you know. They believed in me when no one else did, you know.
You know what I'm hearing from
Michelle
you, Crystal?
fought alongside me.
You know what I'm hearing?
Yeah. What?
This little girl saved you.
She did. She really did. She saved me. You know, and I was trying to do the same for her. But nobody would listen to me. It was like, I have never in my life felt so invisible.
Well, let's
you know, it was basically,
let's talk
you know,
about that, because I'm a lawyer and I've gone through and tried to figure out what happened at this hearing where Adam ended up getting custody. And is it true that you were in the courthouse in a different courtroom taking care of another matter involving one of your other children in front of a different judge, and the judge that was handling Harmony's case went forward without you in the room because you were in front of another judge involving your other child?
Yes. Actually, I wasn't in the same building. So Jameson's case, because he was born in Boston, his case was out of Boston. I had to pick between the two hearings. And it was basically, if I was at either one of them, if I wasn't at either one of them, it was going to go bad for me. So I called my lawyer frantic in Lawrence, and I said, I sent over from that courthouse to the other courthouse that I would proof that I was there. He said, I will quote, fight for a continuance. That never happened. There was no continuance granted. There was no continuance fought for, and they moved forward and handed him custody. So in the same day, not only did my son get adopted, but my daughter got handed over to the one person that I begged them never to give her to. There were so many family members that had stepped up. There were family members that had been vetted and still denied. There's just so many things that people don't know that what really happened. Like, there were family that wanted her. You know, Michelle would have adopted her.
And who is Michelle, for folks at home who don't know?
Her foster mother. When I didn't have her, Michelle did. That's her other mommy. And Tim, her husband, will always be Harmony's real father. The only man that showed her what real fatherly love was like. Truly, she loved Tim very much. And I want people to know as well that Harmony didn't call Adam dad. She called him Adam. I really want people to let that sink in. Because, you know, I think people skimmed through a lot of the OCA report and things because out of anger, you know.
And again, when I went through the history of this, Crystal, going through the history of this, like handing Harmony over to Adam, who's number one in another state, there's like no one's questioning or finding out, well, does he work? Does he have a place? Is he a career criminal? Does he understand how to take care of Harmony? None of this happened in the hearing.
Nothing. Mind you, you know, I was well aware she was disabled. You know, she was blind in her right eye. She was not technically developmentally disabled because she could talk very well by the time she was 2. I remember people didn't believe me that she was 2. Like, as soon as she would open their mouth, they'd be like, she's not 2, no way. And I'm like, she's 2, I'm serious. Like, I don't need to lie. I'm not going to carry her birth certificate around, but she's, you know, she's 2. She's just very smart girl, you know. And the thing that baffles me is that if Harmony at any point by DCF, law enforcement, anybody had pulled her aside away from Adam and Kayla and said to her, you are safe now, is something going on, it would have been like word vomit. She would have told them everything because she would have knew in her head, I'm gonna be safe now. She was smart. And that's why Adam made sure she never spoke to anyone without him in the room. And it sickens me. No one ever did that. They never pulled her aside. You know, she was 5. She was old enough to talk for herself.
And at the time this is happening, like you said, you had to choose between 2 courtrooms for 2 different children. And in the other courtroom, you're helping your son be in a great home, right? And that's so. Yeah. Like that's not easy, right? That's not easy for a parent to say, wow, I know that I'm struggling right now, but my son, we've got an amazing place for him to be. And if I go to this courtroom, I know he's going to be okay. And you did that.
I thought they would give me a chance to go to that court date, you know, like like, give me a week, you know, just to make it to that court date for Harmony, you know, because I had made it to every single court date, every visit, every class they made me do. I did everything they asked, and they couldn't even give me a continuance.
Yeah,
It-
to me
it
that's
blows my mind.
inexcusable when you're making a decision about a small child and you are deciding to give that child to a career criminal who has his own substance abuse issues, and you haven't done any sort of background look at what's going on in his life and can he actually take care of the child. That's problematic when you don't have the one person in the courtroom who knows everything and can call into question the decisions. So that decision is made, and I want to go through a little bit of a timeline for the folks at home and then have you kind of fill in the blanks for us. So February 2019 is when he's granted custody. April of 2019, my understanding, and you can correct us after we go through all this, is the last communication FaceTime between you and Harmony. Then in December of 2019, this is the allegation of when Harmony is murdered by Adam. Flash forward to November of 2021, you call the Manchester police to report Harmony missing.
Yeah, I want to talk about that timeline. I didn't realize it was such a short span of him having her. I think he wanted to get her checks and her food stamps. He didn't want her at all. And there was an injustice. The court system made a big mistake when they did that. Now, I don't think anybody's going to be held accountable for that. I honestly don't. I've never really seen the court system. Let me put this on pause. Let me stop real quick. I'm going to put it back on. I got to tend to my daughter real quick.
Missing. Then in December, the Manchester police begin looking for Adam to try to locate Harmony. And then 2 days later, you write to the mayor, desperate, requesting help here. So I guess the biggest question most people have is between April of 2019 and when you start making a lot of noise in November of 2021, what's going on? What do you know is what is happening in your life, and what is happening?
I was actually kind of going through a hard time myself. I was in the shelter, pregnant with my son. You know, just trying to make a way for myself, really. But I had no contact, you know. Like I said before, he had cut me off everything, you know. Even if I would make a fake page or a new page and message them, it was automatic read and blocked. And you know, so I just started doing my own digging, you know, asking around, driving around, like little things I could possibly do. If I was in Manchester, I would just drive around and to parks I just remember at the visits I had for him, he would always have me meet him at the Dunkin' Donuts on 2nd Street. But I didn't know anything other than that because he was, at the time when I was seeing her, a lot of people don't know, but I was tiptoeing around this man. Any little thing he told me I could or couldn't do, I did because I knew he would make me never see her again. I knew it. He finally had the control he wanted and he was going to use it. So until I finally couldn't deal with it, we had the agreement that I was starting a job and I needed to FaceTime for that week until I got my schedule and I knew when I was going to be able to have my visits with her. We agreed. Right away, the FaceTimes were chaotic, just very chaotic. There was like, you know, he's muting it, pausing it, shutting the camera off, and just every single time she just looks terrified. And he's, you know, I'm asking questions, he's yelling at me saying I can't ask her that, or she's not going to answer that, or, you know, just, I knew in my gut, man, it was all wrong. He was acting erratic. I knew he was getting high. And there was just nothing I could do. I was being told by this DCF worker that I was a bitter baby mother and I was mad because he had moved on. Not because he was acting crazy or she hadn't gone to school, hadn't seen a doctor, his own family was making reports as well alongside me, giving me all this information about what he's doing there, and nothing's happening. And it started even back then. Like, the report started back then when I was still having phone calls, and nothing happened. Nothing. And everybody knew he was getting high, including his family. Nobody did a thing. And it's like, there were people there. Like, there was only so much I could literally do, and I did everything I could, but I had to survive myself. I didn't live in Manchester. I didn't live in New Hampshire. I lived in Boston, no vehicle. You know what I mean? Like, I did what I could with what I had,
Yeah.
I really did.
All right. Crystal, it's going to be... We're going to take a short break, Crystal. Take a moment. Thanks again for joining us. Crystal's going to stay with us this hour. Coming up next hour, we've got big news in the Utah student case. All that coming up in the next hour.
Kayla stated that after each accident, Adam would get upset and would strike Harmony.
Okay, so yeah, I just wanted to go over that real quickly. Sorry, I had to walk away for a minute. Definitely, this hits me close to home. I have a beautiful daughter that's 9, and thank you, Sadie's mama. She came home yesterday and had 101 fever. I've been taking care of her all night, giving her ice packs and Tylenol. So, yeah, Tylenol, ice packs, and she doesn't even want to eat. So it's one of those colds going around. And, yeah, who would I be to be a hypocrite and sit here filming and not take care of her, right? Everybody knows as a mom. So somebody dropped off. Thanks for stopping by. I think it was Misty Free Spirit had to go. Hopefully we have some more people stop by. We're going to continue playing this. But, yeah, this is really heartbreaking, and I'm going to be on here for a while, so you're welcome to stay on here. Everyone's welcome to stay. I hope more people come. I hope you like my new setup and the camera I have, all that. So enjoy it. I'm going to sit here and watch these things. I had to work, so I didn't get to sit here and watch. I didn't get to watch. And Sadie's mama, that's even more heartbreaking. That's how old she would have been, because my daughter is just such an angel and a light. I can't even imagine. Thank you. Yeah, new background, new setup. I got a lot more things going on, and I want to make it look nicer. So, yeah, let's hang in there with me. Let's watch this together. For those who didn't get to watch it or only got to catch clips of it, now I'm gonna sit here and watch it. So, thank you.
In the face and head with a closed fist. Kayla stated that on December 7th, 2019, prior to the vehicle breaking down, Adam struck Harmony in the face and head on 3 separate occasions because she had a bathroom accident. This happened while Adam was driving the vehicle. Kayla described that Harmony was in the rear seat on the passenger side, and while Adam was driving, he turned his body and delivered sets of 3 to 4 blows with a closed fist to Harmony's face and head on 3 separate occasions over the course of a few minutes. Kayla stated that after the final blow, Adam said words to the effect of that he felt something or heard something when he hit Harmony and, quote, "I think I really hurt her this time. I think I did something." Harmony began making a moaning type noise, which went on for roughly 5 minutes and then stopped. At no time did anyone stop or get Harmony medical attention as the result of this assault. Kayla said this happened in the morning while the family was on their way to Burger King on Route 3 in Manchester, and afterwards the family returned to the parking lot of the Colonial Village apartments. The family stayed at Colonial Village for approximately 20 minutes, during which time no one checked on Harmony. Kayla could not recall exactly what they did during this 20-minute time period. Kayla said that after approximately 20 minutes, the family left the Colonial Village apartments, and shortly thereafter, their car broke down. Kayla said she thought the car died at approximately 8.
I'm gonna show her testifying, so I'm gonna skip through some of this. I really wanted to see, um, I wanted to see Crystal Sorey, and I actually wanted to empathize and sympathize with her because my opinion when I started was really angry with her, but now I see that she did everything that she could in her power, and the court systems let her down big time. And I was saying before this, I honestly don't think that they're going to be held accountable. I don't know how you can try an entire court system. Are they gonna hold the judge accountable? That usually doesn't happen unless it's something corrupt that was specific. And I honestly, they should be held accountable. But I'm not sure that it was something in malice. Maybe they made a mistake that happened. So again, I don't know the details. If anybody knows who the judge was presiding over that case that didn't give her the opportunity, did they not tell her? Did they schedule simultaneously? I don't know. Those are a bunch of questions. But definitely Adam should be held accountable, and Kayla should be held further accountable. She's unbelievable. The fact that I know that she is, thank you, Misty Free Spirit. I hope she gets better soon too. I don't like my baby crying and being upset. So yeah, the fact that that Kayla didn't do anything, she didn't tell anyone, and it just disgusts me that she says if she could be with Adam one more time. This guy's a freaking monster. I I really hope they give him the max. I know the jury is not supposed to count it as a bias because he's not there, but I just don't think he can face the music. So I think he doesn't want to be there, and he doesn't want to face what they're saying. He doesn't want to hear it, doesn't want to relive it. He knows what he did. He knows what he did, and he knows where the body is. And I don't even know if there's a body left. When I'm hearing it, I'm hearing that it's in the bag and the lime, and she was such a little girl, and when Kayla saw her, it was skin and bones at that time. So I'm not sure that there will be remains with the bag and something, but I don't know how much is left of her, and I guess anything is better than nothing for him to come forward. Maybe he'll slip up when he's in prison and tell somebody, but I don't know. So let's try to hope that they get justice for Harmony. Now, Sadie's mama says the person who let Harmony down is a postal worker now. Maybe we'll learn more about that. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but I'll look into that a little, what you're talking about. I'm going to see if there's more interview here, and then we'll go to the next clip.
Or 9 a.m.
Crystal Sorey, Harmony's mom, is still with us tonight. Crystal, when you learned those details of what they say happened to Harmony, what went through your mind?
I just remember being in a meeting that morning, and I just kept saying, like, I knew he had murdered her for something small, something that she would really have no control over. So when they told me that, he had reached over and done what he had done because she had been having multiple accidents, I went up, I jumped up to kind of run out the room to get some air, and I fainted. It was like, it just blew me away, because she had a history of accidents when she was scared or really stressed out, and she didn't understand what was going on. She would have accidents, because it was like her way of like letting you know, like, something's going on, I don't understand, and I need you to pay attention to me, you know? So I know her history, you know? So like when I heard those things, it was like, how could you fault her for that trauma, you know, that trauma response? You know, she was 5 years old, you were living in a car. It's not like it was an available bathroom, and it's not like she wasn't terrified of this man already. If this man was punching you in the face for every little thing, would you tell him you had to go to the bathroom? No, you wouldn't. You know, so it was just, and then it just got worse and worse and worse. And I kept telling myself, and my family kept repeating, that anything that happened after she was with my mom and my brothers, you know, it wasn't her. I try to tell myself that anything he did to her after, she was already at peace and she couldn't feel it. That's the only thing that gives me a tiny shred of peace.
Why?
You know?
Why do you think he even wanted her or fought for her or asked the judge for custody of her? It just seems so obvious that it wasn't about love.
She was a meal ticket. He did it because he thought, oh, she's blind, I'm gonna get a good amount of Social Security for her. Also, to hurt me. He told me, he said, if I ever get her, you're never gonna see her again. And I told DCF this. I told them, you know, I said that would be the biggest mistake you ever make, because he hated women. He hated women. He hated his mother. His mother abandoned him. Like, he had terrible history with women. He's a woman beater. Like, I knew that. He used to put his hands on me. Like, I didn't want him to have any type of control over his daughter. I knew. I just knew, you know? But I didn't, like, when I was looking for her and I was on the news and I was saying all these possibilities, I just didn't want to believe the worst. You know, you don't want to believe that somebody could look in a child's eyes that didn't choose to be here and do such a thing. He named her. He chose Harmony, her name. I was going to name her Melody. You know, and those are the things that I have to live with, that I have to think about, you know. People don't understand that, you know. I've been put through hell throughout this entire investigation. I've been blamed, bashed. I had people in my inbox telling me I should end my life. I should be sterilized. I should never have children. And I did nothing but everything in my power to get people to listen to me. And it was too late.
Crystal, tell us a little bit more about Adam. You know him better than any of us. And to try to understand who he really is, you mentioned that he had put hands on you as well. Like how consistent was the violence that you witnessed, and what would happen just before he would get that way?
He gets set off very easily. He's a narcissist, so he's the type of person that looks for things. Like, he'll look for things. Like, he'll read a text and misinterpret it and think you're trying to be shady, or he'll ask around, be like, oh, when I was at work at X amount of time, what was my girl doing, da da da. And if they said, like, oh, I don't know, she went to the store at one point, like, oh, she left and she was cheating. Like, he was really controlling and really, like, just toxic. It was just very toxic. And obviously, like, when you're using, like, we used together, like, that was our entire relationship. We used, like, I was high, I didn't care what he was doing, you know. But then when I got pregnant with Harmony, I didn't want that anymore. And when I was pregnant with Harmony, he had tried to murder somebody. He shot this man in the face over some drugs. And when he went to jail, I was like, hallelujah, you know, like, I went to a program and I wrote him a letter, and I didn't want to be with him anymore. I just said, listen, I saw the true you, and, you know, he was putting his hands on me while I was pregnant. He cared more about drugs, and I believed, I went to the program, he went to jail while I was pregnant. It wasn't meant to be. Like, I was a strong believer then that everything happened for a reason. He was just, even when he was in jail, he was in jail a lot of our relationship. I want that to be put out there as well. When I met him, he was on the run from violation of probation, like some prior things he had done, probably robberies, something, I don't know. But he was in and out of programs. He would get in a program, the judge would put him in a program, and then he would get a good month or two, get them to trust him, and then he would run from the program. And it was just a vicious cycle. He just did it every time. He would be like, I'm an addict, judge, and they'd put him in jail, and then he'd go to a program.
I was a prosecutor. I've seen those guys. I have seen those guys. Yeah. Same routine over and over. And you find these gullible judges. Yeah. And then a judge who would give custody of a child to someone like that. Unreal. All right, Crystal, stay there.
I don't know how they didn't cross.
Yeah. Like,
you know, those two.
It's very simple to do. If you ask a couple questions or get a little bit of information before making such an important decision for a child. It's always supposed to be what's in the best interest of the child. Not what dad wants, not what mom wants. Best interest of the child always should drive everything.
Always.
Crystal, stay where you are. When we come back, I want to ask you about Kayla Montgomery, because she is going to be the most important witness, but she was in the middle of all of this as well. When we come back, we'll talk about it.
So yeah, we're almost done with this interview. I hadn't seen it, so thank you for watching it with me. Yeah, this is heartbreaking, but it's so good that she's speaking out and letting people know what really happened and who he is. I was going to say who he was, but it's who he is. And that's what I took away from both the cases, is that he's just crying, I'm an addict. It wasn't about that. I didn't do this. I'm an addict. Feel sorry for me. But really, he's just a narcissistic guy that's evil. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. And that he barely cares about himself. I mean, this guy was unbelievable. So yeah, I'm really glad I found that clip to watch. This video is about the battle of the exes. And right now, I mean, Crystal Sorey is definitely, 10 points. Her, Kayla, nothing, because we haven't heard from her. But when we do, we're just going to think, well, I'll let you know it. I'll let you see. I'll let you have your opinion and let me know what you think. But I've seen parts of it, and she's just as disgusting as Adam, except she doesn't have any feelings about it. She doesn't have that evil look, but she's just, something's missing with her. Something's not clicking. I don't know what it is, but she's gonna be back out on the street. If she's already not, I couldn't tell if she was out or if it looks like she's still serving her 18 months, which means she's gonna get her kids back and probably end up with some other abusive guy. So,
Because I got subpoenaed to be questioned about Harmony, and
on the one hand, she's going to be the most important witness in the trial of Adam, but she's in the middle of all of this. She's in the middle of all of it and claims to not know where Harmony's remains are. What do you think?
I had a lot of trouble with her throughout this case, because I'm a human. Like, I'm a victim of domestic violence, especially, by him. So I know what she was going through with him. I know, it still is not even a crumb of an excuse. Because if it had to be between me and a child, doesn't matter if it's a stranger, a stepchild, my boyfriend's child, my girlfriend's child, I don't care. If it had to be between me and a child, I'm going to choose me. So the fact that she didn't lift a finger to get her help, she did nothing, and then decided to just, well, not only that, but, she laid down and got pregnant by him while my daughter was somewhere stashed in this house. That's a little part that everyone else seems to miss, is that she did have a third child a month before they got arrested in 2021. She had a daughter. Go figure, right? And so it's like, I think about all those pieces. Like, the only people that really think about though everything is me and my family. A lot of people see what they see on social media or the TV or whatever, but like, I know these details. So that right there is just disgustingly sick. Like, you watched him murder a child and then you laid down with him and had another baby. And then, the piece of, her basically doing no time.
Yeah.
After she helped. No matter any way people want to put it, she helped. She helped conceal her body. She did nothing to lift a finger. She helped kill her, So it's very hard for me to not have very serious anger towards her. And I wish the worst for her. I hope she never gets to be around another child again. You know what I mean? She doesn't deserve to be near her child. I never get to hold my baby again. So she should never get to lay eyes on hers again. They're better off without her. 110%. Those boys are better off without her. And the fact too that, the boys, they were there. They were right in that back seat with Harmony. It's like, what? And then she just sits up there and she knows that, like, her life is over, you know what I mean? But I have a small, like, I kind of believe that she doesn't know where my daughter is, only because I know Adam. And, he would say, I'm not going to take you to do this last thing in case you rat on me. I know he would say some.
That does make sense.
Some weird.
It makes weird sense,
You know what I mean?
from a man like that.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Crystal, really appreciate you coming on tonight. I know Harmony was looking down, proud of you telling her story tonight.
All right, that was great. Wow, that was a whole bunch of emotions going on. So, yeah, it's crazy. I'm going to stop sharing that one and come back on. So let's look at a picture of all the people so we can see what we're doing today. So it looks like we did day 1 and 2 partially, and I might as well do day 2 and partially of 3. I really wanted to go over the 2 women that he had closest in his life and what they have to say about him or about the case, but really we get to hear what they had to say about him. Right now, that was a whole bunch of information that I knew in translation, but I hadn't heard it from her. I hadn't heard it from Crystal. I hadn't heard it from someone that was so close to him. He's just a terrible character, period. So let's look at the people quickly. I just wanted to, so you can take a look at who were talking about today. If I can pull this up. Here it is. Let's share this. And all right, so you can see it here. I'm gonna get this out of here, but yeah, anyway, it covered his uncle's eyes. Get that out of there. So yeah, you can see this here, and there's the uncle. I was going to ask if you wanted to hear from him. So this is obviously Harmony, and this is day 2 right here. So we have a picture of her here, a picture of Crystal here, and then we have Kayla, and then this guy just being real amused, right? This picture irks me because he comes in like he's so cute and so cool, and he's not going to be feeling that soon. Hopefully, I hope he gets every drop of what's coming to him. I hope they see it for what it is. Now, her, I can't say that when she got 18 months, and when you hear her testify, you just want to strangle her. This one knows. I kind of feel what she does, and I'm sure Adam said, I'm not going to tell you what's going on or I'm not going to tell you where the body is because I don't want you telling. And I believe that. Because he's been in the system and he knows. So the rest, the people I want to show that are on day 2, this one's pretty quick. It's like 19 minutes. And then her testimony, the link isn't too long. Now this one on day 3 gets really long. It's an hour and 25 minutes. So I don't know if I'm going to play it through or go through it a bit, but here's the people we're talking about, and let's focus on this little girl here. This is why we're here doing this, right? All right. So let's get out of here. I'm gonna go to the next piece, and we'll play another clip. Yeah, that picture sickens me too of him. I can't stand that. I can't stand that smirk he has on his face. It bothers me. All right. And I do have the DCYF guy, if you want to hear that. Just a little part of it. I want to see what it is about him that he should be held accountable for. So, all right. Now there's a DCF worker. We can look at that real quick before we look at the uncle.
And Mr. Sorey, to remain standing. Raise your right hand. You swear that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth and the whole truth with the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
You can make yourself comfortable. Can you start by by stating and spelling your full name for the record?
Yes. My name is Demetrius Tsaros. First name is Demetrios. Last name is Tsaros.
And Mr. Soros, I'm just going to ask that you speak as loud as you can.
Yeah, thank you. I will.
Mr. Soros, what city do you live in?
I live in Concord, New Hampshire. I apologize. I just moved. Pembroke, New Hampshire.
How long have you been a New Hampshire resident?
All my life.
And what do you currently do for a living?
I am a career level letter carrier for the Postal Service.
The U.S. Postal Service?
Yes. Yes.
And how long have you worked in that capacity?
Since September of 2021.
Prior to September 2021, how were you employed?
I was employed as a CPSW, a Child Protective Service worker with the state of New Hampshire for DCYF.
And that acronym that you just gave, CPSW, can you tell the jurors what that means?
Yes, Child Protective Service worker.
How long did you work for DCYF?
Approximately 10 years.
And in your capacity as a caseworker for DCYF, did you have occasion to interact with someone named Adammontgomery?
I did.
So this is the guy that did nothing.
And calling your attention specifically to 2019, the summer of 2019, did you receive a report regarding Adammontgomery?
I did.
And he did nothing.
Are you aware of whether or not he had children?
Not when I first received the report.
Was the report regarding one of his children?
Yes.
Which child was that?
Specifically, it was Harmony.
Harmony Montgomery.
I'm sorry, Harmony Montgomery.
I'm not going to listen to this whole guy because he makes me
And
sick already.
was that report regarding an injury to Harmony Montgomery?
Yes.
There was an injury.
Do you know who made that initial report?
I do not. It was anonymous.
He should be held responsible as well as Adam. He should be held responsible.
Do you remember specifically when that report was made?
It was July of 2019, towards the end of the month. Specifically, it was either the 19th or the 29th. Yes, July 29th, 2019.
Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay, so if you could just turn that over. It's face down.
And sir, I'm just going to ask you to keep your voice up so that all the jurors can hear you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And can you tell us that date again? I missed it.
July 29th, 2019.
So we're going to bring in.
And what did you do after your involvement on that call began?
I apologize. Could you be more
This
specific?
guy.
So you got a report. What did you do after you received that report?
When I received the report, I initiated trying to make contact with the family in order to see them, see the family, see the children, ascertain safety.
And is that generally what you do, or is that what you did in this specific case?
Generally, that was the standard practice.
Sounds
In
like
this specific case, though, what did you do?
nothing.
Specifically, tried to initiate contact. I ended up going out to the listed address in an effort to see the family.
Do you recall what that address was?
I believe it was 77 Guilford Street or Guilford Ave.
Tell us about that trip out to the 77 Guilford Street or Ave.
So I drove to the location, and as I pulled up, to the location, I noticed a person who I recognized as Adammontgomery getting into a car.
And let me stop you there.
Yes.
He recognized him. And this is the result of Uncle Kevin calling. And we're going to go back to Uncle Kevin's testimony, which is also heartbreaking.
So, Mr. Soros, I'm going to show you what's been admitted and previously published. It's as states Exhibit 101.
Mhm.
Do you recognize the individual that's depicted there?
I do. That's Adammontgomery.
So, when you said that you recognized the individual getting into a car, I believe
Yes,
that was this Adam Montgomery.
it was.
And what did you do?
Was anyone else present with him as he was getting into that vehicle?
There was a young girl, small girl.
That interaction, your observation of the defendant, Adam Montgomery, and the small girl who was with him, how long was that?
Not very long. Basically, as I was pulling up and getting ready to park, they were getting into the vehicle, and I can't remember exactly how far away I was, 30, 40 feet or so, when I was parking my car, and how she got that mark.
So, Mr. Soros, I want to switch gears and I want to discuss January of 2020. On January 8th of 2020, did you make contact with the defendant?
I believe so. I would like to review my contacts, please.
I'm sorry, could you speak a little more?
Children, he bought the kids like foam swords or lightsabers, and that they were playing with them, and that Harmony was struck in the face, in the eye, and that's how she got that mark.
So, Mr. Soros, I want to switch gears and I want to discuss January of 2020.
So a foam
On
thing
January
for a
8th
black eye.
of
Do you
2020,
believe
did you
that?
make contact
What?
with the defendant?
I believe so. I would like to review my contacts.
This
please.
guy.
I'm sorry. Could you speak a little more loudly
Yes, ma'am.
and repeat the answer to that question?
I do remember receiving a report then, and I don't remember the exact date and whether I made contact or not.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at your report?
Yes. If man,
Oh, mother.
he had said that she was having visits with her mother, and again, I'd have to probably look at my notes.
Glasses, right?
She did.
You, she agreed to remove them, right?
Yes.
So that you could look at her.
Yes.
And there's a standard set of questions you ask under these circumstances, right?
I do. I did.
So again, without indicating what the answer was, you would obviously ask her what had happened,
Yes.
and other questions regarding her general safety.
Yes.
Aside from the redness in her eye and the faded bruising, you did not observe anything else concerning regarding Harmony's person or well-being.
I did not.
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to show this guy and that he testified. Uncle Kevin called. He did nothing. I mean, those are huge red flags. I've seen kids. I have two kids. I actually have a 24-year-old and a 9-year-old that I've seen many times them playing with swords, even ones that aren't foam, and that just doesn't happen. I've never had my kids get a shiner, even from a toy, actually. My daughter was a Rough Rider when she was little, and she still is, but I've seen that happen at school where she's on the playground and they tell me that, she did this and she's got like a little mark on her eye, but nothing like this, nothing that would be, DCYF being called and then somebody saying it was a foam, I'm going to get in the car real quick. And then it was a foam sword and somebody do nothing about it. I mean, this guy in general has no passion to him at all. He's sitting there. I don't know. Can you repeat that? Like, he doesn't have an ounce in him of compassion, or he's just there to do his job and get home. He doesn't care about the kids. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't because I don't know him, but the way he comes off on this stand, it's my job to judge him right now. And the way I see it is he just doesn't have any kind of umph. So sad. All right, we're going to play the uncle now, and then we'll go to Crystal and Kaylee. I mixed the two up. All right.
I honestly can't recall, but I think the left.
Okay, you think the left.
See her standing in the kitchen.
When you got home, did you see Harmony there?
I did.
Where did you see her?
I seen her standing in the kitchen.
And when you saw her in the kitchen, how did she look to you?
She had a black eye.
Can you describe it for us? How did the black eye look?
Full, like a raccoon's eye, black and blue.
Black and blue?
Yes,
And when you say full, what do you mean by full? Can you give us a good
all the
example?
way around.
All the way around. And I see just there you were pointing to your right eye. Did you see it on her right eye?
I honestly can't recall, but I think the left.
Okay. You think the left. Okay. I appreciate that for your honesty there. You said you saw her in the kitchen with this black eye?
Yes,
Okay. So when you saw her in the kitchen with this black eye, what, if anything, did you say? It's okay. Take your time.
something along the words of, "Oh my fucking God, what did you do, Harmony?"
And who answered that question?
My nephew Adam,
Where was he?
standing right behind her.
And what did Adam say?
She didn't do anything. I bashed her around the fucking house.
Did Harmony ever say anything in the response to the question, or just Adam saying, I bashed her around the fucking house?
I think just Adam.
How did Adam say this?
How did he say it?
Yes. Or let's put it this way. Can you say it the way that he said it so that we understand?
I'm not sure. If I had to describe it to the best of my ability, it would be like a cocky son of a bitch.
Did Adam tell you why he bashed her around the house and caused the black eye?
He did.
What did he say?
He said he was in the bathroom moving his bowels, and that he put Harmony in charge to watch Declan. And when he came out, Harmony had her hands over his mouth, and I guess his lips were supposedly below. That's what was explained.
That's what Adam explained to you?
Correct.
And after he explained that, how did he say he caused the black eye?
I bashed her around the fucking house.
Was there anybody else in the kitchen when Adam said this to you?
Just the three of us.
Just you, Adam, and Harmony.
Harmony.
Let me ask you, did you stay at your house that night?
I did.
What about the night after that?
I left the following morning.
Did you ever stay in the house after that? Overnight?
I did not.
When you heard this from Adam, who did you tell about what Adam told you and seeing the black eye? Who did you tell?
This is hard to listen to, guys. I know this, and we'll probably listen to it a little bit more, but I really wanted to focus on the two exes today and how they compare to each other in testifying against Adam. I mean, nobody's going to beat the mother, who Crystal Sorey, and her heartfelt testimony and the interview that we just listened to. I'm so glad we got to listen to that and listen to it together. I'm glad I got to play it and sympathize with her. I definitely sympathize with her. And it looks like she was told not to let the baby cry, and that's the reason that she had the hand on the mouth. But we all know that's a lie. This guy, Adam, just wanted to beat her up. He probably saw her mother, Crystal, in her face when he looked at her and just wanted to beat her up because he was angry. He was angry anyway, but I bet that he targeted her even more so because of that. In my experience, that's what tends to happen. Terrible.
You want names?
Yes, please.
So my mom told my son's mother, Christina, told my sister, Erin, my brothers, Sean, Michael, and Richard. I told one of Adam's friends, Nick and Aaron. I told Harmony's mom, Crystal. I told Harmony's foster mom, Michelle. I think I told my sister, Janine, my mother, Helen. That's kind of what I remember. Could you just repeat the question?
So it sounds like he told a bunch of people, and he probably told them that he told her to shut her fucking mouth or whatever abusive language. And I don't know. I don't know the whole story. Did anybody do anything? And you know what? Sadie's mama, yep, and high all the time. I don't even want to give him that excuse. I honestly don't want to give him the high all the time excuse. I don't want to give him any excuse about being high. He gives himself enough of an excuse every chance he gets. And I was high, and I was high. Now, he has that rage inside of him, and he obviously targeted. I'm not saying that didn't play a factor, but you know what? I've been there in the past. In my younger days, I got high, whatever, but I never had anger towards anyone. Never did I have anger towards anyone because I was getting high. Now, this is not in a time frame of me raising my daughter. I'm 44 now, in my 20s, let's say, 20 years ago, doing that. I never had a rage for somebody when I was using drugs. I was out having a good time, drinking, hanging out with my friends. I never got angry like that. So the anger's inside of him, and it's directed at Harmony. So yeah, I agree with you, but I won't give him that one. I can't.
Again?
That's all right. I believe you answered the question.
Okay.
Let me ask, did you also make any calls to what's called DCYF, or the Division of Children, Youth, and Families?
I did.
And the Nicholas and the Aaron that you referred to, is that Nicholas the same person as Nicholas Ahern?
Yes.
And is that Aaron the same person as Aaron Rue?
Yes.
Why did you tell all these people? Why did you call DCYF about this?
Say that again?
Yes. Why did you tell all of these people?
I'll be right back. Sorry.
to get help
Help for who?
for Harmony.
Did you ever see Harmony after that day?
I did.
When did you see her? And by when, I mean what time of year?
What time of year?
Yes.
No, I don't know what happened here. Sorry about that. It's like it froze. What happened? It's really hard to watch this. I'm gonna go to the next one because this guy is just like not
I did.
really able.
And at that later time, what did he say about having bashed Harmony around the house?
Can I explain?
So, if we could approach for a minute, Your Honor.
All right, I'm gonna start playing Crystal's testimony because we get the idea of what was happening. I wasn't gonna play him today. It kind of paused. I normally don't walk away like this, but yeah, my daughter's couldn't find the control and she's got a temperature, so she's being extra needy. Of course, although I don't want to get a fever, I've got her very, very comfortable. So yeah, if I have to stop here or there, that's why. Okay, so we're gonna stop sharing that and put that on. I can't nope. Hold on, pause. Okay, maybe put that. His mom and
If you would please go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to this jury that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you, Ms. Sorey. Please feel free to have a seat. Ms. Sorey, since we're being recorded here today, and there's a microphone right in front of you, so I will ask you to please keep your voice up to make sure that the recording picks you up. Would you please state your full name and spell both your first and your last name?
My name is Crystal Renee Sorey. CrystalSorey.
And Ms. Sorey, what town do you live in?
I live in Fitchburg, Massachusetts.
How long have you lived there?
A year and 5 months.
And how far did you go in school?
I didn't graduate high school.
I'd like to ask you about a specific day, June 7th, 2014. What significance, if any, does that day have for you?
It was the day my daughter Harmony was born.
And Harmony was a girl, correct?
Yes.
Have you had any other daughters besides Harmony?
No.
And what was her full name?
Harmony Renee Montgomery.
Same middle name as you.
Yes.
What was her medical condition when she was born?
Sorry, you guys. Some people dropped off.
She was blind in
there
her
for a
right
while.
eye. She was misdiagnosed twice before that. Yeah, just blind in her right eye.
And after about 3 months after she was born, who did she go to live with?
Michelle Rafferty.
And do you know Michelle?
Very well.
Why did she go to live with Michelle?
I am a recovering drug addict. I was struggling at the time, handling her diagnosis. I was struggling.
Is it fair to say that who you are now in 2024 is different than who you were in 2014?
Very.
In March of 2016, were you able to obtain custody of Harmony again?
Yes.
Okay. Where did the two of you live?
First, when she reunified, I was at Casa Esperanza in Roxbury. It was a reunification program, but you could only progress so much there. So then we moved to Ruth Kelly Umi's house on the other side of Roxbury, Dorchester.
Okay. When the two of you were living together, how was Harmony?
Amazing, rambunctious, very smart. By the time she was 2, she could tell you her whole life story.
She was talkative.
Yes. People didn't believe she was 2.
When you got custody and were reunified with Harmony in those two places, did you work and finish potty training with Harmony?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
And how did she take to that?
She did very well, honestly. I was kind of surprised. She was just really excited to be a big sister. Her brother had diapers, and I told her, babies wear diapers, and you're not a baby anymore. You're a big sissy. So she was right on it, and she did so well.
In September and then October, I know you were reunified in March of 2016. In September and October of 2018, did she go to live again with Michelle Rafter?
Yes.
And when she left then, that would be the fall of 2018. How old was she?
2018. 3, I believe 3, almost 4.
Yeah, basis.
It's leading and with, I think the dates are wrong.
Your Honor, I believe the question was, how old was she in the fall of 2018?
Objections overruled.
Thank you. So she was born in 2014, is that correct?
She was 4, yes.
Okay, so she was
This
4
clip
in
is only like
18.
19 minutes
Yes.
or 16 minutes, something like that.
And was she fully potty trained when she left you?
Yes.
I just wanted to see her and get to know her a little bit.
I'm going to ask you, who was Harmony's birth father?
Adammontgomery.
And how did you meet him?
Through a mutual friend.
Was he living with you when Harmony was born?
No.
Were the two of you living together when Harmony went to live with the Raftertys?
Never.
Did you ever have any other children with Adammontgomery?
No.
At some point in 2019,
Thank God
who got custody of Harmony?
that guy doesn't need any more kids.
Adam.
Where was Adam living at the time?
Manchester, New Hampshire.
Do you remember what street he was living on?
Guilford Street.
And is that where?
Yes.
What, if any, visits did you have with Harmony after she went to live with Adam Montgomery?
I had 2 physical visits with her. And then I had 2 FaceTime calls, both very brief.
The physical visits, where did you visit her?
Excuse me. Guilford Street.
Did you visit with her outside the home or inside the home? Or
Inside the home.
inside the home. Did you see where her room was?
No. He never showed me.
When you say he, who is he?
Adam never showed me. I was only allowed in the living room or the bathroom.
How did you communicate with Adam at that time?
Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah. He wouldn't give me his number.
When did you last see Harmony?
April
April of
2019.
April of 2019.
Yeah, right before Easter.
How did you see her?
Oh, I was doing a Facebook video call. That was how I had job training. So I couldn't do a physical visit that week because I didn't know my schedule.
You said that was before Easter, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you see her on Easter?
Yes.
Red flags everywhere.
Were you able to see her after that?
No.
What did you try to do to be able to see her or talk to her after that?
I just kept reaching out to Adam and Kayla and, asking, begging them to let me see her. And I was sorry for whatever I did. I wasn't even sure what I did. But I was just trying to reach out to really anybody at that point, his family, his grandmother, his uncle, his dad, anybody.
Let me ask, did you try to reach out through the months of May and June?
Yes,
What about in July?
I believe so.
Did you receive any phone call from Kevin Montgomery, Adam's uncle, in July?
Yes.
I'm not going to go into the detail of what was said, but after that call, did you continue these efforts you talked about before, trying to get in touch with Adam?
Yes.
And what about September of 2019? Were you trying to get in touch with Adam then?
Yes.
What about October and November of 2019? Were you trying to get in touch with Adam then?
Yes.
Christmas of 2019?
Yes.
In touch with him then?
Yes.
Were any of those successful?
No.
Did you see or hear from Harmony at all during that time period?
No.
What about in the year 2020? Did you continue to try to find and get in touch with Harmony or Adam?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
No problem.
I'm glad they showed the timeline earlier and talked about it because we could see this didn't happen. This wasn't like a long span of time that it happened over. It wasn't like, it just slipped through the cracks and her mom didn't do anything and just nobody knew about her or whatever. So this happened fairly quickly, and Harmony did have a lot of people that loved her. Now that I get to watch more of the details of the case, that does make me happy that she had a lot of people that loved and cared for her. And it wasn't that nobody wanted her and Adam ended up with her and then this happened, but she definitely had her mom. She had the uncle that cared about her. She had her adoptive mom and dad. And this was months of happening, and then people started questioning it. So I'm really glad it wasn't one of those. It's not one of those cases where it was like years of time where she was getting abused and nobody knew, nobody cared. It's all heartbreaking, but we want justice for Harmony now, and we want her to know that she was loved. She still is loved. And a lot of people care about her. And it was definitely injustice what happened here. That she was let down by the court system, by DCYF, by Adam, by Kayla, and anybody that didn't turn them in, anybody that didn't say this is what's happening. Terrible. All right, Kayla. Kayla's up next, and then that one's gonna be a while. So you can hang in there if you saw it. If you haven't seen it, if not, I'm gonna play it through. I'll fast forward any breaks, but other than that, I'm gonna play it, and then that'll be the last person of the day.
What about the following year, in the year 2020? Did you try to get a hold of Adam and Harmony?
Yes, I had made a new Facebook hoping, because he had blocked me and so did Kayla. I was hoping to get through to him that way.
Did you try also through 2021?
Yes.
By December of 2021, what else were you doing to try to find Harmony
I was
to respond?
calling DCF. I was, telling my therapist, talking to anybody that I knew was either a mandated reporter or had some type of leverage, because I wasn't getting anywhere. I had wrote also to the mayor.
And in December of 2021, did you have any meetings with the Manchester Police Department?
I'm sorry.
Yep. In December of 2021, did you meet with the Manchester Police Department about trying to find Harmony?
Yes.
And with regards to that, did you provide them with any permissions to try to get more information to help find Harmony?
I signed whatever they needed me to sign.
Did any of that include medical authorizations for medical records?
Yes.
Did you provide a DNA swab for them?
Twice.
Did you provide permission for them to look at your Facebook account?
Yes.
Did you provide permission for them to find out where you had been living and contact those places to confirm your dates there?
Yes.
So I'm going to show you. It's been marked State's Exhibit 101.
For identification?
Your Honor, I believe we made this.
I'm sorry. That's full exhibit. Thank you.
Do you recognize this person?
Yes. Adammontgomery.
He's too much of a coward to show up at court.
Yes.
Hashtag coward, Adammontgomery. Can't even show up.
Show now. State's Exhibit 97.
That's my girl. That's Harmony.
In the fall of 2018, when she went back to practice, do you know that she was going to school?
When she was with Michelle, she was, but not after.
Not after.
No.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
When she went with Adam, she never went to school.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, if we could approach. question for you. With regards to all of those communications that you talked about through 2019, 2020, 2021, trying to get a hold of Adam Montgomery or Harmony, for any of those, were you ever able to speak with Harmony?
No.
Again, in just a moment.
We're almost done here. This one's about over.
Clarify, I'm sorry, the last time that you saw her, I believe your testimony before was April of 2019.
Yes.
So it was not around Thanksgiving time of 2019.
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this, or I believe defense counsel will have a few.
Okay, it was muted, and I'm gonna say this again quickly. In the hour and 30 minutes that we've watched Crystal Sorey, I'm gonna say that I definitely am on her side as far as empathy and sympathy goes. She did everything that she could, and I'm not even giving her an excuse. And it looks like she's not looking for an excuse when it comes to being a drug addict. She says I was, and I tried my best to do everything I could. And she does that. She just doesn't use it as a crutch or an excuse at all, ever. She says it and she moves past it. She doesn't ask for a sympathy on that, or she doesn't apologize for it. But I think she did everything she could. You can hear her multiple times saying that she tried to do this or she tried to do that. She ran into brick walls at every chance that she got. And you know what? We're gonna put Kayla on next. And Kayla, that lady, man, I'm torn about her because I know there's a such thing as abuse, but it goes beyond that because she really said that she wants to be with Adam one more time, and she had kids after this murder happened. She had kids with this man. So this is just too much for me. All right, so let's go into this crazy.
Kayla, can you begin by stating and spelling your full name for the record?
My name is Kayla Montgomery, KaylaMontgomery.
And how old are you, Kayla?
33.
Where do you currently live?
I am in the correctional facility for women's in Concord, New Hampshire.
How long have you been there?
For over a year.
Kayla, why are you currently incarcerated?
For perjury, for lying to the jury about the whereabouts of where I was and where Harmony was.
And when you say lying to the jury, was that the grand jury?
Yes.
Did you also lie to the police?
Yes.
Why'd you do that?
Because I was scared, and I was told by Adam to stick with that story, that I got dropped off at work at Dunkin' Donuts, where I no longer worked at that time, and to say that he was bringing Harmony to meet her mother, Crystal, and that he dropped her off with her. And then when he came pick me up from work, which I was not working there at the time, he didn't have her in the car, which that was a lie.
That story that you just told, that was what you told the grand jury?
Yes.
It's what you told the police?
Yes.
And was that in fact what happened?
No.
You said you've been sentenced for lying.
Yes.
You're living at the prison. Do you understand the consequences of providing false testimony?
Yes.
And since those lies, since your time in prison, have you sat down with investigators? Have you sat down with the Attorney General's office and provided additional statements?
Yes.
How many times?
About 4 times.
How many hours?
A couple hours at a time when they've came to see me, or I've gone out to the office to meet with them.
Did you reach a plea agreement with the state?
Yes.
And that was on the perjury charges.
Yes.
Other charges were dismissed, is that right?
Yes.
I'm surprised people aren't wanting to get her, like attack her or beat
The
her
story
up.
that you just told about the defendant dropping Harmony off with Crystal, who came up with that story?
Adam.
I'm surprised people don't want to get her. I don't.
Why did you stick to it?
Muted, but
Because I was scared for myself and my children that are also Adam's, and for him, because I didn't want anybody to get in trouble and I was scared.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Kayla, you referred to Harmony Montgomery just now. How do you know her?
She's Adam's daughter, and he started a year after we got together. He was working on getting custody of her, and he had to work to get custody of her. He wasn't just given her, and it took 4 years to get custody of her. And during those 4 years, we both visited her each week for a couple hours.
Was she your stepdaughter?
Yes.
Showing this witness what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 98 for identification. Do you recognize this?
yeah, I can find the cross and put that too. I have another.
Who's
link.
depicted in this image?
I just wanted to hear
Harmony and
the
myself.
last moments of her life. Yeah, I
Can you
can
point to
find
Harmony?
the cross. I think I have it.
And is there a date associated with this image?
Yes, July 7th, 2019.
And do you recognize this image?
Yes.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of Harmony on that day?
Yes.
Who's the other person depicted in that picture with Harmony?
Myself.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of you that day?
Yeah,
Do you know who took this photo?
I did.
Your Honor, at this point, I'd move to strike the ID and mark as full State's Exhibit 98
Any objection? No objection.
and publish.
The ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit and it may be published to the jury.
Kayla, what were you and Harmony doing in this photograph?
We were taking pictures and laughing, playing. We always did silly pictures.
Oh yeah, that's gonna come up next. So that's in this week.
You mentioned getting custody of Harmony at some point.
She's
Do you
gonna
remember when that was?
She'll continue next week.
It was the month of February of 2019.
She stopped with
And where were you living when you got custody of Harmony?
77 Guilford Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
So she got a migraine on the stand later on, and it stops for the day.
When you got custody of Harmony, Was she potty trained?
Yes.
Was she potty trained after you got her or before you got her?
Before.
Did she have accidents when you first got her?
No.
So you mentioned 77 Guilford Street. When did you move into that home?
It was in 2018. Probably around April or May. I think it was around that time.
Whose home was it?
Adam's grandmother's, Helen Montgomery.
Did she live there with you at any point?
Yes, when we were staying there in the beginning, she lived there.
And in the beginning, who else lived there with you?
Adam's uncle, Kevin Montgomery, Adam's brother, Michael Montgomery, and Adam's brother's girlfriend, Kayla. I don't remember her last name.
Another Kayla, though.
Yeah. And myself and Adam, and we had Seamus.
How old was Seamus when you moved into that house?
About to turn 1.
Would you recognize that Guilford Street house if you saw it today?
Yes.
Yes?
Kayla, I'm handing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibits 1 and 2. Can you look at those for me, please?
That's the house. And this was Harmony's room.
And do you recognize the items that are depicted in those exhibits?
Yes.
Are they fair and accurate representations of what's contained in those exhibits?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to strike the ID and mark as full State's Exhibit 1 and 2.
They were already full. I think they are.
Already
I think they're already full.
I move to publish, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
Kayla, State's Exhibit 2. What can you tell us about this room?
Adam and I helped decorate this room right before Harmony came to live at Guilford Street. And she really likes Minnie Mouse.
When you say she really liked Minnie Mouse, who is she?
Harmony.
When you say you helped decorate the room, what did you do to decorate it?
Got the Minnie Mouse wall decor that stick to the wall, and got her a whole new bed set, blankets and sheets.
There's no bed in that photo, but was Harmony's bed in that room?
Yes.
Where would it have been located in relation to that image?
Right next to the window.
And Kayla, whose room was that prior to Harmony moving in?
It was Helen Montgomery's room.
If she would have just spoke up, we could have avoided all of this. She just sat there and she took it. Let it be a lesson to you. If you're watching this, let it be a lesson. If that's happening,
Harmony's
speak up.
toothbrush.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of Harmony's toothbrush?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move to strike the ID and mark as full State's Exhibit 10.
Any objection? The ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit. It may be published.
If you're an adult, you can take it more than a kid. Stand up for them. Stand up for yourself, but stand up for them. she's gonna sit there and decorate the room, but she's not gonna do anything.
Kayla, you mentioned that
What is that?
Helen moved out and Harmony took over her room.
Yes, she moved out of the room, but she was still living at the house.
Did she eventually leave the house?
Yes.
When was that?
In May of 2019,
Do you know where she went?
Florida.
Kayla, I want to turn your attention to July of 2019. So several months after Helen moved out. Were you still living in the Guilford Street home in July of 2019?
Yes.
And who was living there with you at that point?
It was myself and Adam and his uncle Kevin. And it was Seamus and our son Declan and Harmony. And
Do you think she's still taking methadone? I put that up there because, again, I don't get to catch everything during the day, so I could come back and watch it and pick up on bits and pieces. So, yeah, they were taking methadone regularly, and then they were still getting high. Obviously, outside of that, they were using that to supplement their high, which is the complete opposite of what you should be using that for. Okay, so they had her on anxiety meds, which makes sense because a lot of people that go on the stand, they need that to go on the stand. I get that. But I wonder if they still have her. I don't know if they do that in prison or not. I hear people that go in and they're high as a kite on everything and they just have to detox. So hopefully she's off that shit because when she's going to be out in 8 months or less. She got 18 months for this, and the 18 months was for the perjury, and I don't know if it was just perjury or if she got a couple of charges. It's not enough time, but she still has to take care of her children, and hopefully she doesn't go right back out to getting methadone and then going to get high. Maybe the Adam's not around. She'll straighten up. I don't know. She seems kind of like a little bit of a beat down person that doesn't have much fire in her to do anything, or she wouldn't be where she is and Harmony would be alive. She's the only other one besides Adam that could have saved her, and she didn't. And she got 18 months. Crazy.
his brother Michael and his girlfriend Kayla were still living there for a couple weeks until they moved out and went to Florida with her.
You mentioned this earlier, but where were you working at that point in your life?
I was working at Dunkin' Donuts.
Were you eventually terminated from your work at Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes,
Why?
because I was stealing money from the register.
Did you admit to stealing money?
Yes,
Did you actually write a letter acknowledging that you had stolen?
yes,
Did you take responsibility for what you'd done at Dunkin'?
yes.
You mentioned that in July of 2019, Kevin Montgomery was still living in the Guilford Street home.
Yes.
Did he eventually leave for Florida after Helen?
I
don't remember where he went. I remember Helen had surgery. She had open triple bypass surgery. And I don't remember if Kevin went to Florida. And I think he went to Mass too. I don't remember where he went.
Let me ask you this. Do you remember him being gone from the house for several weeks?
Yes.
And let's talk about that period where Kevin's gone from the house. Okay. You were still working at that point?
Yes.
What were your hours like at work?
I worked 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I also covered shifts if they needed help.
The 3 children that you mentioned,
Yes.
where were they when you were at work?
with Adam.
And so in July of 2019, your youngest, Declan, how old would he have been?
He was about 6 months old.
And you said you were working from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.?
Yes.
Did you like that setup?
Yes.
At least she has a little remorse. She's crying. But whether it's for herself or not.
When you get home from work at 2
No
p.m., what would you
remorse.
do? What would your day look like?
I would come back home and help take care of the kids and feed them regularly, get them ready for bed later. We'd watch movies or they'd be playing.
You mentioned Kevin Montgomery leaving for some period.
Yes.
Did he return to the home at some point?
Yes, he showed up with Helen.
So before that, though, in July of 2019, did he
Yeah.
return to the home at some point?
I don't remember.
Do you remember overhearing a conversation between Kevin and the defendant, Adam?
Yes.
What was the tone of that conversation?
They were arguing about a situation that happened with Harmony.
What was Kevin's tone in that argument? How did he sound?
He sounded angry.
What did Kevin say in that conversation? May we approach?
Yes.
Had you seen that before that argument?
Yes.
And tell this jury where you saw that black eye.
On the
First time you
side.
saw it.
It was on the side of her face right here. It was really red. It didn't really turn black and blue until like the next day.
So the first day you saw it, when it was red, really red, how did you see that? Where were you?
I came home from work and I saw her face and it was red, and I was told that.
And let me stop you there. You came home from work.
Yeah.
So this would have been around 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Did you have an understanding of where Harmony had been that day?
Yes.
And tell us where that was.
She was at home at Guilford Street
Who was she at home with?
with Adam and Uncle Kevin and Seamus and Declan.
And when you got home, when you saw this injury, the redness to Harmony's eye, did you ask the defendant what happened to her?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
Do you think she's believable? You know, I think since she already got sentenced, she could be the scapegoat for Adam now, right? They gave her 18 months. She took a deal, and I do find her credible. In a way, I feel bad for her too. I hate to say that because when I start to hear her testify about Harmony's last moments, which is the title here, when I hear that, it makes me very angry. But she is believable, and nobody on this planet would have known what happened or spoke about it had she not. So people might have come forward and said, yeah, I seen that, or I witnessed that, or that happened, but they wouldn't know. When she talks about it, they wouldn't have known what happened to her. They wouldn't have known the details. And although we don't want to hear those details as a parent, as human beings, we want to know what happened. So yeah, I do believe her. I notice she keeps looking at the jury, and I hope she becomes believable to the jury and they don't let him off on the lesser charges of abuse of a corpse and just let him out quick. I hope that he gets life in prison, and it would be great if it was life without parole, because he should never be on this earth outside of prison. I truly believe that.
That her and Seamus were playing, and Seamus hit her in the face with the lightsaber by accident.
After you heard that confrontation between the defendant and Kevin, did you confront the defendant?
Yes, I asked him.
And at that point, did he tell you a new story about this injury to Harmony's eye?
No, it was the same. Well, yeah, he ended up telling me after
What was the new story he told you?
that he ended up hitting her in the face because she covered our son's mouth because he was crying and he was in the bathroom. He went to the bathroom. Declan was crying, and Harmony had her hand over his mouth, and he came out of the bathroom and saw that, and his lips were blue, or purple blue, and he hit her.
Did he describe how he hit her?
He smacked her in the face.
Did he acknowledge causing that injury?
Yes.
Do you know a Demetrius Soros with DCYF?
Yes.
Did he come to the house after that interaction between Kevin and the defendant?
Yes.
Did you know at the time what the purpose of his visit was?
Yes.
What was it?
DCYF got called about the children not being taken care of, and that Adam was abusing his daughter.
Okay, so this is now tying everything together. It's tying all the people together, the situation. We had the uncle we played. We had the DCYF guy that we played part of because I just couldn't take it. He didn't do anything, and he just sat there kind of no empathy, nothing. He didn't want to admit that he did anything wrong. So I think he just kind of didn't have any emotion, which is fine. They say not to have emotion on the stand. They don't want someone to be upset, but so we're tying it together. We have the uncle, the DCYF, we have Kayla, and we have Adam, and of course, Harmony.
When Mr. Soros arrived at your home, what did the defendant do with Harmony?
He left with her. He grabbed Harmony and left with her.
He grabbed her and left?
Yeah.
Did you have a conversation with Demetrios that day?
Yes.
He shouldn't have
In that
been
conversation, did you cover for the defendant?
Yes.
Why?
Because I didn't want him to get in trouble.
Was there a period in 2019 when you no longer lived at the house on Guilford Street?
Yes.
And tell us how that came to be.
We ended up getting evicted from the house in November of 2019, the day before Thanksgiving, because the mortgage wasn't being paid.
And Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Our car,
What kind of vehicle was it?
a Chrysler Sebring.
When you began living in that car, who were you with?
It was myself and Adam, Harmony, and the two boys
Where were you sleeping during that period?
in the car
Where would you keep the car?
behind Colonial Village in Manchester.
Why Colonial Village?
Because that's where our friend lived.
What was your friend's name?
Anthony Bodero.
Did you tell Mr. Badero that you were living there in that parking lot?
He asked us not to, but yes.
And so can you just describe the sleeping arrangement in that vehicle for you and your family at the time?
So Adam would sleep in the driver's seat. I slept in the passenger seat, and Harmony was behind the passenger seat, and the baby Declan was in the middle, and Seamus was behind the driver's seat.
Kayla, I asked you earlier about whether Harmony was potty trained when you got custody of her. And I believe you said she was.
Yes.
Did that change at some point after the eviction?
Yes.
And tell the jury about that. What happened to Harmony?
She wouldn't let us know when she had to use the bathroom, and so she was peeing in the car, just in her seat that she was sitting in.
She's acting
And
out.
she wouldn't tell us that she had to use the bathroom.
Was she only peeing, or was she having other accidents at the time?
She was also pooping.
She was stuck in a car and she was getting abused.
How frequently was this occurring for Harmony?
A lot. Like at least every day.
And did those accidents, did they increase in frequency the longer you were in that car?
Yes.
How was the defendant responding when she had these accidents?
Getting angry.
Would he do anything physically to her when she had accidents?
Yeah, he would smack her.
And what does that mean that he would smack her?
He would smack her in the face, or on her leg, or in her hand.
He just wanted to hit her.
Were these
He wanted to
soft
have a reason to hit her.
smacks, hard smacks, or something else?
They were like hurt, stung smacks.
What makes you say hurt, stung smacks?
Because she would cry during, like, whenever she got smacked by him, and I could hear it, and it sounds like it hurt.
I'm sorry, you could hear the crying or you could hear the smack?
Smack and the crying.
When you say she was crying, who's she?
Harmony.
Those strikes, were they manifesting in any way on Harmony?
Yes.
How were they manifesting on her?
The more accidents she had, the more he would get angry, and he would hit her repetitively.
Was the defendant causing visible injuries to Harmony?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
And tell us about those injuries.
When he would hit her, she started getting black eyes and bruises on her face, on her legs. Yeah.
Did you ever see her bleed as a result of being struck by him?
No, I didn't see that.
Did you ever see the defendant attempt to cover Harmony?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors how he did that?
He would cover her with the comforter that we had in the car
Why would he cover her?
so nobody could see her.
How often would he cover Harmony?
All the time. Anytime that we had interference with anybody, no matter who it was.
Was this only when you went out in public, or was it when you were still in that parking lot, or both?
Both.
Kayla, were you involved in an accident, a car accident on November 29th of 2019?
Yes.
And I want to turn your attention to that day. Who were you with that day?
Tabitha Scott.
Who else was in the vehicle during that accident?
Adam, myself, Harmony, and the two boys.
Who was driving?
Adam.
That Sebring, did you regularly drive it? Did you drive it at all?
We're gonna get to the part
Yeah,
when she
he
talks
I
about
didn't drive it, but he did. He had the license. I did not.
her last
You
moment,
didn't have a license at the time.
No.
Harmony's last moments.
So you said that Adam was driving, the defendant was driving the vehicle. Where were you in position to the rest of the people in the vehicle?
I was sitting with Harmony on the way to Burger King, and there were a couple red lights. And when we were at red lights, he would go over the driver's seat, like in between the passenger seat, and he was just punching her repetitively in the head.
And you've said there were several times where he punched her repetitively in the head.
Yes.
How many times did he hit her?
And kept hitting her in the head.
Kayla, can you tell the jurors what happened when Adam returned to the vehicle after his methadone treatment?
When Adam came back to the vehicle, he could smell urine, and
So this is right after they go into the methadone clinic. So Kayla goes into the methadone clinic first, and then Adam goes in second. And now they're going to start talking about him coming back to the car from the methadone clinic. I kind of didn't want to drag out the rest of her testimony. It's kind of slow and redundant. It's specific, but it's redundant. So here it is. These are the last moments of Harmony's life, and then they'll talk about the disposal of her body after this. So Adam walks out. Here's what happens the last moments of her life.
he started yelling at Harmony and kept hitting her in the head repetitively.
Where were you when he smelt that accident? Where was the vehicle when he smelt that accident?
In front of the methadone clinic.
Did you discuss going somewhere with him at any point that morning? Going to get food?
Yes. I asked to go to Burger King.
You asked to go to Burger King.
Yes.
And so at some point, did he begin driving the vehicle?
Yes.
Was that before or after he repeatedly struck Harmony?
After.
What was Harmony doing at that point when he started driving the vehicle?
She was crying a lot.
She was crying a lot?
Yeah. And she was making a weird noise.
Was she saying anything?
No.
And Kayla, I want you to walk the jurors through in as much detail as you can what happened on your route from Habit Opco to that Burger King.
Adam was getting really angry from Harmony peeing in the car, and he repetitively kept punching her on the way to Burger King, and there were a couple red lights, and when we were at red lights, he would go over the driver's seat, like in between the passenger seat, and he was just punching her repetitively in the head.
And you've said there were several times where he punched her repetitively in the head.
Yes.
How many times did he hit her?
I can't count. I don't know.
Were you counting?
No, it wasn't.
How many lights did that car come to where he repetitively struck her?
At least 2 or 3.
Between Habit Opco and the Burger King, did the defendant say anything to Harmony?
Told her to shut the fuck up. Stop crying.
You said she was making a weird noise.
Yes.
Can you describe it?
It was like I can't even describe it. It was like a moaning kind of noise, but crying. It was just weird. I can't explain it.
Did you try to help Harmony while he was striking her?
Yes,
Tell the jurors what you did to help, to try to help.
I put my arm up and said to stop, but he looks at me and he gave me this look that was like evil. It's his crazy eyes. I didn't like it, and I couldn't stop him from hitting her, because the look that he gave me was scary. I was scared.
I can picture
What were you
that.
feeling when he looked at you like that?
Like he was either gonna hit me or just, I don't know. It was weird. And that was like one of the first times that I've seen him look at me like that.
Was it the last time you saw him look at you like that?
No.
And we'll talk about that more. But I want to focus on this drive. You said that Harmony's crying. She's making this weird noise.
Yeah.
Where was she in the vehicle?
She was behind the passenger seat.
And who was in front of her in that car?
I was.
You described the defendant almost coming over the seat.
Yes.
Was he still driving at that point?
Some, like, kind of. Like between the red lights, and it definitely at the red lights. I remember that.
How was he striking her?
By punching her in the head.
Where were your other two children at that time?
In the back seat.
And what were they doing?
They had no idea what was going on.
How old were they?
Seamus was about 2.5, and Declan was 11 months old.
Did you look back at Harmony at any point?
No,
Why not?
because I was scared.
What were you scared of?
If Adam was going to say something, or if he hurt her really bad, it was going to look really bad.
You were scared of what Harmony would look like?
She saw worse after.
That attempt to intervene, were you successful in that?
No,
Did he stop after that?
shortly after that,
Shortly after that. Did he say anything to you when he stopped?
he said he thinks that he really hurt her. But he felt something.
It's hard not to sympathize.
When he said
with
that he
her.
thinks he really hurt her,
You
where
watched-
was the vehicle at that point?
At Burger King?
At the Burger King?
Yes.
You want to be mad at her.
And what did the defendant do after he stopped hitting Harmony, after he said, I think I really hurt her?
Nothing.
She's the only one telling the story, so
Did you order food from Burger King?
Yes.
Where was Adam when you were ordering food from Burger King?
In the driver's seat.
Did you go inside to the Burger King or something else?
No. I don't remember going in there.
Did you go through the drive-thru?
Yes.
And so who ordered the food?
Adam did.
And what did you do with the food that he had ordered?
Ate it, gave some to the kids.
Where were you when you ate the food?
In the parking lot
Which parking lot?
of Burger King.
Now, the kids were behind you at that point.
Yes.
Is that what you testified to?
Yes.
And who gave them food?
I did.
Did you see Harmony when you were giving them food?
No.
Why not?
because she was under the blanket.
Who put her under the blanket?
Adam.
That's the same blanket that you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, when I hear this testimony, I can't imagine the jurors having much of a reasonable doubt. And when the defense describes how she did it, it rules out the possibility that, and not because she's crying, but because she does explain what happens, and then she later on describes how the disposal happened. But right here, she's being honest, and I just don't see her doing that. I don't see her punching Harmony in the head or doing any of the abuse, but I do see her standing by.
The same blanket he would cover her with?
Yes.
Where did you go from the Burger King parking lot, Kayla?
Went back to Colonial Village
And how did you get there?
with the vehicle, Adam driving.
Was Harmony still under the blanket when you arrived at Colonial Village?
Yes.
And that moaning that you mentioned, that weird noise that she was making, was she still making it?
No.
How long did that noise that she was making last?
I don't remember. It wasn't. I don't remember. I don't remember if it was too long. I don't remember if it was after we were at Colonial Village for a little bit or if it was before.
That moaning, did it eventually stop?
Yes.
Did you check on Harmony at any point after the moaning stopped?
No.
Did Adam?
No.
Why didn't you check on her?
Because I was scared.
I think they both knew what happened. They knew.
When you arrived at the Colonial Village parking lot, when you arrived back there, what did you and the defendant do?
We got drugs and got high.
When you say we got drugs and got high, what drugs did you get, Kayla?
Heroin and crack.
Remember, there's other kids in the car.
How long did you use those drugs for in that parking lot?
Probably we were there for probably 10 or 15 minutes.
Where did you go from the Colonial Village parking lot?
I don't remember where we were going, but I know we left.
They were doing drugs with
You
the
left at some
body.
Yes.
Other
And what
kids.
happened when you left the parking lot?
We made it to the next street over, going towards Elm Street, and the car died when we got to the traffic light, and it wouldn't start or anything, and so we were stuck without a vehicle.
What was the defendant doing when the car died?
He was trying to get a jump, and there was no jumping the vehicle, and so we ended up having to leave it. And when we were getting out of the car and getting the kids out of the car, Harmony had passed away.
Let's talk about that. When you say Harmony had passed away, when did you realize that Harmony had passed away?
When Adam was trying to wake her up and she didn't reply or anything.
Was he saying things to her to try to wake her up?
Yeah, he said Harmony, and he kept saying baby girl, like, and trying to budge her, and there was nothing.
Was he touching her?
Yes.
What was he doing to her body at that point?
Trying to figure out what to do and getting all the kids out of the car. He took the duffel bag that was in the trunk and
She has to live with this for the rest of her life. Recount that moment in your head.
and put her in the duffel bag.
You mentioned this duffel bag from the trunk.
Yeah.
Had you seen that duffel bag before, Kayla? What was it used
Yes.
for?
When we got kicked out of the house, we put clothes in there for everybody. And it was in the trunk of the car.
Did you see him put Harmony in that duffel bag?
Yes.
How did he put her in there, Kayla?
He like folded her in half and put her in the double bag.
Did he call 911 at any point?
No.
Did you?
No.
And when you saw him put her in that duffel bag, did you attempt to get away, to run?
No.
Why not?
They had the two other kids and I was scared.
Scared of?
That something would happen to me or Adam and the kids.
You said you saw him put her in that duffel bag, fold her up and put her in there.
Yes.
What did her face look like when you saw her go into that bag?
It was all black and blue and her face was puffy. Her eyes were puffy.
Did he say anything to you after he put her in that duffel bag?
I don't remember.
What did you do after he put her in the duffel bag?
We took the kids and we walked back to Colonial Village.
What did you do once you arrived at Colonial Village?
Put the bag in the snowbank so Anthony wouldn't see it.
I'm sorry, so that who wouldn't see it, Kayla?
Anthony.
That's Anthony Badero.
Yes.
Where was the snowbank that you put? And sorry, let me clarify. Who put her in a snowbank?
Adam.
Where was that snowbank that he put her in?
In the embankment from the parking lot.
What was around that snow embankment?
A dumpster.
This is why I believe that she doesn't know where the body is, because I really truly think she would want the family and especially her mom to have that closure, at least with the body, to be able to bury it, bring her home. The level of details that she's giving here, it's horrendous. So, I mean, she talks about her body being put on the snowbank. She talks about her being folded in half. And it gets more graphic than this. So if you want to keep listening, it's going to get more graphic. But why wouldn't she tell where the body was if she knew? I truly believe she doesn't know.
The cars and snow.
And you said he put it in there so that Anthony Badero wouldn't see.
Yeah.
What did the defendant do after he put that duffel bag in the snowbank?
Left her there. And we got a ride from Bodero to get the stuff out of our car.
And where was your car at that point?
It was at that street. We ended up leaving it, and when we came to the car, it was already getting towed.
So Mr. Bodero gave you a ride back to your vehicle.
Yes,
Were you able to get belongings out of the vehicle?
yes.
And who did that? Who got those items out?
Adam and myself.
That vehicle was your home at the time.
Yes.
What did you do after that in terms of a shelter?
Bodero let us sleep in his car for the weekend until I figured something out.
Just for the weekend?
Yeah,
Is that what you had asked him for? Or is that what he said, just for the weekend?
that's what he said.
And what kind of vehicle did Mr. Bodero have?
An Audi.
Do you remember what color it was?
Blue.
Was it a car, a sedan, or an SUV?
A car.
And I want to talk about the time that you were living in that car that weekend. Where was Harmony's body at that point when you were living in Mr. Bodero's vehicle?
In the trunk of the car.
And did the defendant ever move it from the trunk of the car to another location?
Yes.
Where would he put it?
Near the dumpster.
Why?
So Anthony wouldn't see it.
Was it cold outside at the time?
Yes.
You mentioned snow. Was there snow on the ground?
Yes.
Did something happen to the vehicle that first night you were staying in Mr. Bodero's car?
Yes, the battery died.
What did the defendant do when the battery died?
Used somebody's phone and called Miss Frayne.
Is that Kimberly Frayne?
Yes.
Are you aware of him communicating with any other people regarding the dead car?
Not that I remember.
At that time, did the defendant have a Facebook account?
Yes.
Do you know if he had a Facebook account?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
But you recall a call to Miss Frayne.
Yes.
And what happened after that call?
She showed up with a battery pack jumper to jump the car.
It's hard to listen to, I know.
Was she successful in jumping the car?
Yes.
And what were you doing while that was going on?
I was in the car with the kids.
Where was Miss Frayne?
Outside of the car with
Where-
Adam.
I was going to ask, where was the defendant? Where was Harmony at that point when the car was being jumped?
In the trunk of the car.
What did you and the defendant do for food during your time in Mr. Bodero's car?
Bodero bought us pizza and brought it down to the car.
You mentioned being there for 2 nights.
Yes.
And the first night the battery died.
Yes.
When was the pizza given to you?
I think it was the next night. Because he did give us food for a couple of dinners. He gave us food. We had the pizza and stuff like.
Could you repeat that, please?
A couple of nights we got pizza.
And did you leave Mr. Bodero's vehicle after that weekend?
Yes.
After those 2 nights you left?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors where you went?
I went to my aunt's house,
And what's your aunt's name?
Kimberly Simmons,
Where did Miss Simmons live at the time?
in Manchester.
Was she on South Main Street?
Yes.
And how did you get to your aunt's home?
Bodero dropped us off.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike ID and mark as full. States Exhibit 25.
Any objection? The ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit.
Now, Kayla, when Mr. Bodero dropped you, the defendant, and your two children off, where was Harmony's body?
In the duffel bag.
And who had that duffel bag?
Adam.
And what did he do with that duffel bag when you got to your aunt's house?
He placed it under the porch.
And you pointed at the exhibit just now. If you could just hold it up and show the jurors where you're pointing.
Right here.
Can you show me where you pointed? If you can take a look at Exhibit 20, 26, and 27, what's been marked as ID for 26 and 27. What's depicted on those two items, Kayla?
The porch. Up close.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of your aunt's porch?
Yes.
Is there a difference in the two photos?
Yes. 27 has measuring tape, looks like.
And Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike the ID and mark as full. States Exhibit 26 and 27.
The ID is stricken. They're entered as full exhibits.
And I move to publish them for peer review.
May.
You mentioned the defendant putting Harmony's body in a duffel bag under the porch.
Yes. Yes.
This is the porch that he put her under.
Yes.
Did he go into the home that day, into your aunt's home?
Yes.
How long were you there for, Kayla?
A few hours. We were trying to figure out where to go.
I wonder if
What was the purpose of your trip to your aunt's home?
checked any of these spots.
To talk so that she could talk to my mother so that she'll let us stay at her place.
What's your mother's name?
Christina Lubin.
So if I understand, you wanted your aunt to talk to your mother.
Yeah.
Did you end up seeing your mother that day?
Yes.
How did you come to see her that day?
She came to pick us all up, myself, Adam, and the kids, the two boys,
Where was Harmony at that point?
in a duffel bag.
And how did your mother pick you up? How did she arrive at your aunt's home?
She came in her van.
And what happened to that bag that Harmony was in when your mother came to pick you up?
We put it in the van.
And when you say we put it in the van, who put it in the van?
Adam.
How long did Harmony's body stay in the van?
Probably about 5 to 10 minutes.
Was it in there while you were traveling somewhere?
Yes.
Where were you going?
To my mother's place.
Did the defendant keep Harmony's body in the van?
For the drive, yes.
What did he do with Harmony's body when you arrived at your mother's home?
He took it out of the van and put her on the side near the trash at first until he figured out where to put her.
And what did he figure out in terms of where to put her?
There was a cooler in the hall walkway that the residents used to get in and out of the building, and it
This is
was
so hard.
on my mom's floor level in the hallway. And he put the he put the duffel bag in the cooler.
And what was in the duffel bag at that point?
Harmony.
So he removed her from the trash. He put her in this cooler.
Yes.
Her body was still in the duffel bag at that point.
Yes.
This is so hard to hear.
Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
Duffel, cooler, trash. This man just didn't care. Like, yeah, if she knew, she would tell. I think so. I truly believe.
28 for identification.
Yes.
Do you recognize that item?
Yes.
What is it?
That is the cooler that was on the porch in my mom's hallway.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of the cooler?
Yes.
That's what it looked like.
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike the ID and mark as full State's Exhibit 28.
Okay.
The ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit.
I move to publish.
Yes, you may.
Can you even imagine that, everyone? Yes. Ceiling, freezer, tote bag. She's still in a tote bag somewhere. Just where?
Into this cooler.
Adam pushed it in the cooler so it would fit.
Is that something you saw him do?
Yes.
Were there any noises when he did that?
Not that I remember.
How long was she stored in that cooler for?
For a couple weeks.
And how long did you stay with your mother for? How long were you with Christina Lubin?
A couple of weeks.
For a couple weeks.
Did her body stay in that cooler for the entire time you were with your mother?
Yes.
Why?
I honestly don't know.
How often did you see that cooler when you were living with your mother?
Every day. Multiple times a day.
Where was the cooler kept?
In the hallway.
Was that your mother's hallway, or was it?
It was access to everybody who lived in the building, but it was on the level of my mom's apartment.
And tell us about that hallway. What else was kept there?
I don't remember.
Were there other items in that hallway?
I don't remember.
Where did you go after living with your mother?
To the FIT shelter, families in transition.
And when you moved to the families in transition shelter, is that FIT, the FIT shelter?
Yes.
When you moved to the FIT shelter, where was Harmony's body?
Adam put her in the ceiling, in the vent of the room that we stayed in.
Put her in so
What room
many
did he stay
places.
in while you lived?
Jesus.
The families in transition shelter, Kayla.
It was the first room. It was room 1.
Go hard on him, jury. Go Max. Go Max.
The ceiling to store her in there.
He used the bunk bed and climbed up in the ceiling.
Was there something that allowed him to access the ceiling that was above that bunk bed?
It was a vent.
And who slept under that bed?
The kids.
Where did the defendant sleep?
We all slept on the floor on the mattresses.
So, Kayla, I'm showing you what's been previously marked for identification as States Exhibit 30 through 34. Can you please look at each of these items in turn and describe what's depicted?
This is the outside of the family shelter.
And that's States Exhibit 30.
And this is the door to room 1, and next to it is the second room.
And that's Exhibit 30.
This is the room.
I'm just going to ask to move it a little away from the microphone. Thank you.
And when you say this is the room, whose room was that?
It was the room that we stayed in.
And that setup, the way the room is set up, is that similar to how it was when you lived there?
Yes.
And that's States Exhibit 32. What is States Exhibit 33? What is depicted there?
The vent above the bed.
And what happened with that vent?
Adam moved it so he could go in the ceiling.
Now, did you ever touch that vent, Kayla?
No.
And States Exhibit 34?
It's the vent.
Are those fair and accurate representations? Is that consistent with your memory of what those items looked like?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike the ID and mark as full States Exhibit 30 through 34.
Any objection?
All right, the idea is stricken. Those are entered as full exhibits and may be published to the jury.
And so, Kayla, I'm holding up what's been marked or what's been admitted as States Exhibit 30. What is this item? What is depicted here?
The outside of the family shelter.
How long did you live at this shelter for?
A month and a half almost.
And States Exhibit 30? What's depicted in this image?
The room that was the one we stayed in was on the left side, room 1, and the other room is the second one next to it.
So you stayed in room 1?
Yes.
And you mentioned room 2 being beside it.
Yes.
And States Exhibit 32 and 33. You mentioned that this was consistent with what the room looks like when you lived there?
Yes.
And those are the bunk beds that you mentioned?
Yes.
And you said you could see the vent that was used in these images?
Yes.
And can you remind the jury what's in States Exhibit 34?
That's the vent that he climbed up to and put Harmony in the ceiling.
When you say he climbed up to put Harmony in the ceiling, who is he?
Adam.
That's so hard to look at. It's hard to see that and not picture what's happening. Damn. This is hard. We're getting to the end of it. So we're on the last of this. It's really hard.
At the time you were living at the Families in Transition shelter, was there anything going on with Harmony's body? Was she having any changes? Or was her body having any changes?
Yes.
And I want you to tell the jurors what those changes were.
You could smell a horrible smell that was coming through the vents.
Do you remember that horrible smell?
Yes.
Did maintenance come at some point while you were living there because of that smell?
Yes.
And what happened when those maintenance workers came?
Adam took her back down from out of the ceiling
You can't unsmell that ever.
and brought the bag in the bathroom.
And what happened when Adam brought Harmony down from the ceiling?
That she was starting to smell and there was fluid leaking.
So you smelled her. And did you see the fluid?
No, I didn't see it.
How do you know about the fluid that was leaking?
Adam said that.
What did he say?
He said that there was blood up in the ceiling and fluid.
And so what did he do with that duffel bag containing Harmony after he removed her from the ceiling because of maintenance?
He put her in a trash bag.
We're almost there. You know what? I wonder if she ever would have told anybody this if the cops wouldn't have come looking for her. Probably not, honestly. As much as she did, I'm glad that she did tell and people know what happened in the last days of Harmony's life, after what happened, how she was disposed, them moving the body. She probably would have never said anything if the cops wouldn't have persisted with this. She would have stayed quiet, and I just don't see her telling unless she had to. She did it to save her life. Am I grateful? Yes, I'm grateful that we know what happened to Harmony. We don't know where she is, but I don't think that she would have said anything, honestly. She would have just lived with it like nothing ever happened. I agree. And she's still going to live with it. I don't know how, but she'll probably, I hate to say it, she probably will go back out and do drugs because that's really hard to live with. Let's finish this.
I'm showing you it's been marked as State's Exhibit 52 for identification.
Yes.
Kayla, do you recognize the item that's depicted in this image?
Yes.
What is that?
The CMC diaper bag.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of the CMC diaper bag?
Yes.
And how about State's Exhibit 53?
Yes.
Is that a fair and accurate representation
Yes.
of the item that's depicted?
Yes.
And what is that item?
It's the bag that Adam put Harmony in.
So you mentioned garbage bags that he put her in.
Yes.
What did he put those garbage bags into, if anything?
He put the garbage bags inside that bag.
So, Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike ID, strike what's been marked as ID and mark as full States Exhibit 52 and 53.
An objection?
No objection. And I move to publish, sorry.
52 and 53, the ID is stricken. They're entered as full exhibits and they may be published to the jury.
Kayla, how did Harmony?
You know, I understand that about Adam being in jail and her being threatened by him and the boys, but everybody threatens. And I wonder, do you think the cops would have helped her if she would have came clean to them and said, here's what happened. I watched it. I didn't want this to happen. I didn't know how to get out of it. He was threatening us. Do you think, I don't know. Do you think the cops would have found somewhere for her and the boys safe to go and let her testify? Think about that. I mean, I've been in that situation before. I got carjacked with multiple people in the car and they threatened us with a gun, and they threatened that if we told, they were going to come back. They had all of our information. Did I go to court and testify against them and tell? Yes, I did. Yes, I did, because I didn't want that to happen to anyone else. Was I worried? Yeah, I looked over my shoulder for years. I still do. I put cameras up. I got weapons that I got registered. I took lessons. Am I scared? Yes. Do I want that to happen to someone else and just let them off because they threatened me? No. So I understand all the things, and I do sympathize with that. However, I wonder if the cops would have helped her. Sometimes they don't. They didn't do anything for me. They didn't even care, really. And after I finished testifying, they got out within months for time served. They got like 2 years for this. So, yeah.
His body fit into this bag.
Adam squished her in it.
I'm sorry, can you say that a little bit louder?
Adam squished her into the bag.
Yeah, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 85. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
Is this similar to that CMC bag?
Yes.
Is it in fact identical to that CMC bag?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move to strike the ID of State's Exhibit 85 and mark as full and publish to the jury.
Any objection?
No objection.
The ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit.
So the defendant put Harmony into garbage bags and he squished her into a bag like this one?
Yes.
And this again was at the Families in Transition shelter.
Yes.
Where did he do that to her?
In the bathroom of the room that we stayed in.
Were you in the bathroom with him when he did that?
No.
This is where it
Did you
gets
hear
tough.
anything when he was doing that to her in the bathroom?
I heard a loud bang.
Could you see what was going on in there?
No.
You mentioned the defendant stuffing Harmony into the duffel bag
Yes.
at that intersection in the car guide.
Yes.
And then you mentioned him squishing her into this bag.
Yes.
Did she fill that bag, that CMC bag that you just saw?
Yes.
Her body filled that bag?
Yes.
And what did he do with the bag after he put her in there?
She's starting to get a headache here.
He put her back on the ceiling.
You mentioned being at the Families in Transition shelter for a month and a half.
Yes.
During that time, did the defendant begin discussing disposing of Harmony, getting rid of her body?
No.
At some point, did he begin discussing disposing of Harmony, getting rid of her body?
Yes.
And what was his plan? What was his idea for getting rid of her?
To use lime. And dismember her.
What did he believe that lime would do if he used it on her body?
Speculation unless it's fixed.
Did the
The objection is sustained. So you can rephrase the question, please.
Did the defendant tell you what he believed lime would do if he used it on Harmony's body?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
That it will help decay her body.
That it would help decay her body?
Yes.
Did he tell you what he believed dismembering her would do?
No.
But he told you that that was his plan?
Yes.
Counsel, can you approach for just a minute?
Is this the end of it? It might be. I know they're on the sidebar, but it looks like it's done. So she gets a headache at the very end. We haven't done.
As I have said to you, we will take a mid-morning break. I think this is a good time to do that.
Joe, if you could just remain standing and raise your right.
Okay, so yeah, I think I just saw the full testimony here, and we've been going for 3 hours now. We've been able to sit through this with all the heartbreak. We went over the interview with Crystal Sorey, and then we saw the worker that should have I'll call it child protective service worker, and then we watched testimony. So I'm a little bit behind on the testimony, but we'd have to go for a lot longer. So she at the end of the day, she got a headache and they stopped. They didn't show that in this clip, but we watched quite a bit. So yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up today. So there's more direct testimony. Is it in the other clip? Let's see. So this is I have the full testimony of part 1. Let's see. More direct testimony. Okay, so let's see if we have a link to that. Let's see. Let's see what I have. Yeah, I can't seem to find the link for the rest of the testimony, but you get a good idea of what happened. We hear about her disposing, or how the body, what happened in her last moments, which is the title, and then what happened. So yeah, I think I'll put something together and we'll continue. Next week they're gonna get her back on the stand. She was like kind of falling out, and she said, I have a headache or a migraine or whatever. So we'll play some more. We'll play some more of the important clips, and I'll talk more about it. And let's hope that justice is served. Let's hope that the jury sees what we see. Let's hope that they take all of it into consideration and not let him get off on what she got off on. Now, the sympathy I do have for her is, and I don't know if it's a double-edged sword here. She has kids, and she's got to raise those kids still. So when she gets out, I don't know if they're going to give them back. Probably. Most states favor the mom having the kids. So I imagine that when she gets out, whoever has them, she'll end up back with them. That's typically what happens in most states. I don't know about that state. So anyway, thank you all for being here. Sadie's mama, I sent you I put my email address above, and if you have any more information, if you'll email me anytime you have something, I'd be happy to take into consideration playing it, especially if I'm looking for it. There's a ton of information on this case, and yeah, so anybody that wants to, I put Sadie's mom, but it's twistedimagesart@gmail.com. There's also guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. Yeah, anybody that wants to reach out to me about anything, I'll be happy to cover a case with you and listen to it with you and chat with you. So my daughter's has a fever today. I'm going to go take care of her. She's been comfortable, but I think I need to go take her a cool bath. So yeah, everybody should put their children first, and that's why I wanted to cover this case. I couldn't avoid it. You all have a good Saturday. It's 4 o'clock over here. It's 4:06 p.m. And I appreciate you all. Please hit the notification button on everything. Juror 13, Sadie's mama got a notification. So if there's a bell button and it says all notifications, if you hit that, then maybe you'll be able to see my next live coming up. I'm going to schedule that soon. And yes, I hope she feels better too. She's 9 years old and they get colds from school, and sometimes it lasts 3 days and sometimes it lasts 3 weeks nowadays with this new strain after COVID. So thank you for the prayers and her feeling better. I want her to feel better so bad. It hurts my heart when my kids are sick. I do have a 24-year-old son. I don't want to forget him, and a 9-year-old. He doesn't live here anymore, but he's right down the street. So he's still mama's boy. Anyway, thank you. If you hit all notifications, we'll say YouTube is being weird. I noticed the people with a lot of users, of course, we get the notifications, but with us little people just trying to start, that happened. So I will schedule something else, and I hope you all get it. Thank you for sitting here with me for hours. This content is helpful for my channel to be boosted. Even though there's not a lot of people in the chat, it's going to help my hours to get to the 4,000 mark. It's going to help my subscribers get up, and then they will be passed around. So this is great. Thank you so much. Yes, I will get there as long as I persist, and I am persistent. So you guys have a good afternoon. Again, a happy Saturday. I always want good vibes. If you see my new background, it's nothing to do with true crime, because I surround myself with true crime all day. That's what I consume. So my background is very peaceful. I try to keep things serene and peaceful in my life, and then I can channel it here on my channel. So yeah, I don't really want all true crime in here. I have my horror collection, which I'll share with you one day. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Have a good evening.